Am I centered up? Yep. So, good evening, everyone that's online, and good evening to the ones that are here in person. And we are in person. So, if you guys want to join us, Sunday mornings, 10 o'clock, Sunday school. And we usually have breakfast for the kids, Sunday Bible study, and then our main worship service at 11. But tonight, as with other devotions that we've been having, we are in the middle of Passion Week. And so, Holy Week, I think is the other term it's called. So we've been moving through each day, right? We learned about what was Sunday's deal? The crucifix? No, the Last Supper, which doesn't take place until tomorrow. But we learned a little bit about that. Then we're moving through, and Brother Curtis yesterday was talking about different thing. I'm trying to make sure I'm silent. So he touched on the fig tree, and then also about the cleansing of the temple. And so tonight we're gonna look at two books. I want to look at Luke chapter 21, right at the end of the chapter. But I just want to have you guys just listen for a second. Just listen. What do you guys hear? I know they weren't really that quiet, were they? Well, what we're supposed to be listening to is that silence. There's a pause in between some events that are going on, right? And I'm sure Brother Robert will get into what's about to occur, but this pause right now is what represents Wednesday or the days before the Last Supper and the events leading up to when Jesus was captured, right? In Luke chapter 21, verse 34, I am reading out of the Holman Christian Standard Bible, and it begins, "Be on your guard so that your minds are not dulled from carousing, drunkenness, and worries of life, or that day will come on you unexpectedly like a trap. For it will come on all who live on the face of the whole earth. But be alert at all times, praying that you may have the strength to escape all these things that are going to take place and to stand before the Son of Man." Whenever things are occurring, right? Whenever things are about to occur, there's usually a little bit of a pause. There's a little bit of a period before then that precedes that, right? And us being here in Oklahoma, what do we mostly associate that with in the springtime? Storms, right? And as you guys seen, I don't know if you guys were out. I was up because I was working, but what was it, Sunday night? Was it Sunday night? If you guys were outside before the storms hit, you guys could have felt a little bit of that calm. And to me, it was a little bit eerie. I say that I'm a weather guy. I'm a weather bug. I pay attention. But I had a couple of friends like saying, "Hey, it's a lot of lightning on that storm." So I went outside to check it out, see if they were accurate, see if they were being truthful. So I was like, "Hey, it's pretty calm." And it had been windy, and you guys still see it's all kinds of windy right now. But right before that storm, right before the winds change, right before the atmosphere starts mixing around and everything, you get that sense of calm. Now, what's about to happen, right, is the reason it's calm, because everything is kind of mixing together in the air and all that type of stuff. That's what we can kind of relate here, what's about to occur. That there was something great about to happen. And there was a time and a period before it was all about to take place where maybe these individuals, but us even today, we can reflect on, and we can learn from this time period that really isn't pronounced, so to speak, right? That the day before, the day of, right? And then his resurrection, they're certain days, but this time period leading up to then isn't certain, right? And there's a little bit of learning that we could take from that. Now let's go ahead and jump over to, oh no, it's in Luke, or it's in, in Luke. Now the next verse is 37. Says, during the day he was teaching in the temple complex, but in the evening he would go out and spend the night on what is called the Mount of Olives. Then all the people would come early in the morning to hear him in the temple complex. So what Jesus was doing during this time was what we might think of as maybe routine, was something that he was called to do, right? And we're all called to work. We're all called to be at a job or be with our family. And it might get routine. It might be a schedule of sorts that we adhere to, right? Again, nothing that's out of ordinary, nothing that's crazy. But during this time, it's a time to reflect. It's a time to be prepared. And that's what the verses we're talking about earlier. It's a time to make sure that we're ready to respond to life's events, right? Because what we're going to read in two different books, and it's recorded in all of the Gospels. There was a period in there where there was an opportunity for somebody to threaten, or an opportunity for somebody to take hold of a certain individual, right? During that time when they were probably should have been studying their Bible, studying their scripture, or listening to what was going on with Jesus teaching and preaching and doing what he was called to do, there was one individual who was thinking about other things, right? And that's what it is. Those lull periods give a chance, an opportunity. If we're not, what it says here, to be on guard, it's an opportunity for the enemy to sneak in, to maybe derail us, to maybe show us another opportunity, right? And we see a little bit after this, there was a meeting that took place. There was a meeting that said, hey, Brother Curtis kind of put it real good. He said, he was thinking about money. He was thinking about ways to not follow Jesus, ways to not maybe get gain. And that came into all of theirs. If you guys read, and what we learned about a little bit on Sunday was that they were all worried about maybe who was greater, who was going to be that first one, right? Who was going to be the one at the right hand and at the left hand. Well, during all that time, again, it's not something that we really are shown, but we are shown, is that this time here is a good time to maybe pause and reflect, maybe a time to reset what we're thinking about. Because if we get going through life, if we get going through just any kind of plans, right? If we get going and then we think that we're self-sufficient, right? We got this. We probably have another thing coming that we don't really see yet, but it's gonna occur. And it happened for all 12 of the disciples, because they thought, this is the king, this is the person, he's gonna be with us forever. He kept trying to tell them, kept trying to teach them, but they weren't paying attention. And again, this opportunity was this time given here was an opportunity for them to really reflect, really kind of step back and be like, well, what is he really talking about? What is he really trying to teach us here? And so if we flip back to Matthew chapter 25. This is a teaching parable, but there's some good scripture here. It says, when the Son of Man comes in his glory, chapter 25, verse 31, and all the angels with him, he will sit on the throne of his glory. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them one from another, just as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on the left. Then the king will say to all those on his right, come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So there's a time that's coming, right? And what he's trying to explain here is there's a time when things will be made known to us. That not only is there a certain way to be able to recognize that relationship with our Creator, but that there's a time of judgment. It says, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. And I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you took care of me. I was in prison and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you as a stranger and take you in, or without clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and visit you? And the king will answer them, I assure you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers of mine, you did for me. Then he will also say to those on the left, depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger and you didn't take me in. I was naked and you didn't clothe me. Sick and in prison and you didn't take care of me. Then they too will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or without clothes or sick or in prison and not help you? Then he will answer them, I assure you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me either. And they will go away into eternal punishment, but the righteous into eternal life. What he's trying to tell us, and even to today, there's a time to reflect on not our past deeds and our past actions, but the intent. What he looks at, the intent of our heart, the intent of where we are with our relationship with the Lord, right? The disciples were at a point where he was going to depart, and he was trying to teach them. He was literally spoon feeding them what was about to happen, but they weren't picking it up because they were thinking about what we were talking about on Sunday, the physical realm. They were thinking about what was occurring right here before our eyes. Again, what we see when a storm is coming, right? We see right there, we're experiencing it right there, but off in the distance, right? And in the little particles of the air and all kinds of scientific stuff, we don't see that. We don't even recognize that. But that's what's about to occur. That's what's about to happen. And in the same way, when God's about to he hasn't given us any inkling of what day he's about to come or anything like that. But what he's about to do is going to separate us right from wrong. It's going to be a judgment day, whether or not we've actually accepted him as Lord and Savior or we've rejected him. And we can look and we can reflect on how we went about certain things, how we responded, and whether or not we really believed, right? And that's what these guys are asking and they're responding with. The righteous, they were like, oh, well, we didn't never really see you in prison. We didn't ever really see you sick and hurting or naked. When did this occur? He said it's not about me physically being naked. It's what you did for others. It's about how you responded to my calling. And the other side, same way. It's not about me seeing. They're saying was we never seen you naked. They say a whole different attitude. We never seen. When did this occur? It's not about that. It's not about what you seen before your eyes. It's about how you helped others. And again, that goes back to what he taught the whole time: love God, but also love your neighbor as yourself. Which is the greatest of these? When he was teaching about the 10 Commandments. So this time right here, right? It's a pause. It's a reflection. How are we really responding to God's call? How are we really answering his or heeding his direction? right? Are we really being obedient? And that's something that we can take from this part. It's not just straight like a parent. This is what we need to be doing every single day, right? But there are things coming up that we really need to make sure that we're right, not only with ourselves and with our family, but we're right with the Lord, so that we can tackle those things that are coming up, because they may be pretty big storms. They may be something that we aren't prepared to handle. The disciples weren't prepared to handle this, but he was teaching them, he was feeding them, he was giving them all the tools that they needed, and he was going to bless them with strength to be able to do some of these miraculous things. But they just had to believe. And just like us, we have to believe. We have to make sure that we're listening and heeding. It's not always sometimes the activities and the day and everything that we get caught up in. Sometimes we just need to take some rest and pause and reflect. So, are there any questions or comments, situations we want to share?
You know what you were saying about it being about how we treat other people, how we serve other people, and where our heart is when we do that. And that's what Jesus was teaching them. I mentioned the spoon thing, like making it very like it can't be any easier, but still they weren't getting it. But he didn't. One, he didn't get frustrated with them. He didn't. You know, he still showed love and compassion, knowing what is about to happen. And sometimes sometimes when we have things going on in our lives, we get really stressed out or worried and things like that, and we fail to still have compassion and consideration for others. And we get that mentality of, well, I got this going on. That's where all my focus is, and we forget to be there for other people. But no one's ever going to have more on their mind than what Jesus did before he was going to be crucified. I mean, he cried in the garden. He asked God, "Can you? Your will be done, but take this." We're never going to face anything even close to being equivalent to that. And yet, even though that was on his mind and his heart and everything that he was still doing what you were saying, loving, taking that time, trying to help people, trying to prepare them. And that just really speaks to me about, because I get focused on this and this and this, and I fail to even at times think about other people. Sometimes I get so focused on what I'm praying for in my life that I forget to pray for other people. I forget to reach out to other people, call, text, all these things. And so that helps put it in perspective for me, because I ain't never going to go even close to what Jesus went through. And he still, as perfect as he was, he still, you know, did what he was supposed to do, be down all the time. But I'm just thankful that he took it for us so that we can have this time to reflect. That it's not just hell, it's opportunities, chances to breathe, to have that calmness, that quietness, and to reflect and do your best to readjust, to transform, to be new, and move forward. So I really clicked with what you were saying.
For those of you online, he about went into his lesson tomorrow night, but
No, a lot of it though, a lot of times, you can get into that feeling, that something is really happening in your own life at that minute that you feel as bad, you know. But what I have found in my walk with the Lord is He always puts someone in my path that is way worse than my situation. And He always reminds me, I've got you, I've got this. What are you going to do with this?
mm-hmm.
That you, I've brought this to you. What are you going to do with this? You know, and just walking into a hospital at one time to go check on someone else, and pray with them. I had a lady that I didn't have a clue who she was or anything, and she just came out of one of those waiting rooms and she walked right up to me and she just asked me to pray, and I had no idea who she was or anything, and I said sure. bed. And she kind of gave me a story about what was going on, and I prayed with her. And I was, and I'm walking away, and I'm like, that was you, Lord, because she had no clue that how did she just look at me and know that I was somebody that would pray?
Hmm. It's because he's given us the strength to be able to help during those times because we have those experiences, right?
Right.
What
Because
what?
I did have to ask for boldness to be able to just do that. When someone asks me for prayer now, instead of saying, yes, I'll pray for you, let's pray right now.
Hmm.
And that's what I ask him to give me that boldness to do. Because one day I was kicking myself for not praying for someone.
Good.
You know, why do we think that on the Wednesday night it was quiet? Why do you think it was quiet when the other nights they weren't? You know, why do you think the four gospel writers did not record nothing? Even if there was, even if there was maybe something happened, don't you think they would have wrote it? John would have said something. So why is there nothing? It's like it just goes past, you know. And I've thought about that because, and of course I don't know, but you know, was Jesus even around his disciples? You know, did he get away from them? You know, because what you'll notice in the scriptures, especially during this time, is is that his disciples weren't pouring into his life; they were taking from him.
Hmm.
They wanted, they took. And Jesus, knowing what was ahead, needed a pouring into time because he had to. He was human, you know. And 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 the people he stayed with, maybe Mary and Martha and Lazarus and others, you know, he didn't say nothing. He just maybe was just there so they could love him and pour into him because he was going to need that. You know, he didn't. You know, those that I don't know. I experienced this. I'm out. I go so much. I have to give that I really appreciate those that take the time to pour something into me. Robert's always praying for me. He's
Mm-hmm.
always praying. He's checking on me, and that pours into my life. I need that because I have to always do and give. It's not a complaint. It's just the busier Christian people are, the more they're giving out. You know, I was talking to Justin one day, and he texted me in the morning, whatever, and he texted me like, "Okay, love you." And I thought, so I texted back, "Love you too, son." Then he sent back, "Oh, that was meant for Kim." And he said, "But I love you too," you know. But he sent it to me, and uh, you know, but that bit of just that, you know, meant a lot to me because you know, Justin, I consider him my son, and the rest of y'all, you know, and so I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that in our life. So, you know, those of you that you know will reach out. See, Jesus needed that because you can't just continually give. You're gonna get tired. You're gonna need to be strengthened, and that's why you know I appreciate it when people, even if it's a little bit, even if it's just little something, they pour into us because we need that. And Jesus was going to need it. He was going to go through what no one was ever going to go through. And remember, he was going to do it as a human. And he was most human during the time we're getting ready to read because God would have struck that aside. He would have called down 10,000 angels like we're
Hmm.
going to see. But Jesus put all that aside. He was going to face what he faced as a human, as a man, and he needed that, you know. And so, for those of you that do that for me, I really appreciate that. Thank you. That's what I think when I read that.
So is the teasing that I give you, is that
No,
included?
that drains me. Even that, that's how we interact. It is.
So
I like
it's-
that. I like the teasing, the laughing.
yep.
That's why I do and say the things I say. And we all need that. However you get built up, you know.
I asked you if I could go to hell for teasing them.
All right. So at this time, you got the feed open. I'm gonna. Can you open your feet? We're gonna have the Facebook chat up, and so if you online want to go ahead and share your praises, or your prayer requests with us, we'll be able to view that. But anybody here have any praise reports?
Got to work in the yard today. Cut some limbs. Gonna cut some more tomorrow, and anxious to get out there and get busy.
Good.
Got little plants coming up, just little ones.
Hey, what kind of plans? Don't worry about it.
Any other praises?
I got some praises. We wrapped up our track season, and so that concludes my first year of coaching at school. Coaching football, basketball, and track, and it was just awesome. Uh, just undeserving, the Lord just baffles us, and really excited for what He has ahead. We start spring football in May, so just a little bit of a break, but I'm thankful that He chose to place me of everyone in this whole world to be where I'm at, and so it's just a huge praise. Looking forward to some time with Nicole and Cleo after school now. Not having to all this busyness and also praising the Lord that I'm getting ready to gear back up at Arkansas State too. So got summer courses going on. Nicole's still doing her thing at Haskell. Hopefully she's ready for the workload that's in front of her because it's going to be a lot of courses she's got to take and credit hours. But just praising God for it all, and that Cleo's just doing so much better, and just lots of praises,
Good.
of praises.
Good. Yeah, good praise report from Brother Robert.
I have quite a few prayer requests. Erica and her family. For Robert and Donna. She texted me last night, and they're really, really needing prayer. They need help. I don't know anybody can work the kill floor or any of that, but their son is not being able to work because he had surgery and he's not going to be back till May. The granddaughter that works with them has jury duty, so it's just Robert and Donna.
Explain what you mean by the kill floor.
They kill the beef and slaughter it and then hang it up.
Exactly what it sounds like.
Gut it, skin it.
Why? Because it's got food involved.
Martha, there's your dad blood.
He couldn't kill
It's
it.
a
He
big,
was
it's
dead.
just a big sheep that's 7 times as much as you weigh.
It's needles. It's needles.
Really needing help and really needing prayer. And also for their son Jeremy. Also Brandon had texted me today that his little nephew Corbin is out of the hospital. He has COVID. He's out of the hospital now. But that whole family there needs prayer. And Brandon's mom's fixing to have back surgery. Brandon's one of his sisters is on drugs and lost her daughter, Natalie. So Natalie needs prayer. I don't know whether she's with grandma or her auntie. Hopefully one of the two. And for my sister-in-law Kim is looking for a different job. She's been working for OSU in different departments for many, many years. And she's just really not, the environment in her job is not good for her. So just pray for her new job.
Any other prayer requests?
My family. And I'm looking for a job. I'm just subbing right now, and they are keeping me busy at subbing. But I need like at least a 40-hour a week job. So
Better hit up this kid.
I could kill it. Hey,
Yeah, like that. Shooting Smith.
Have you ever seen Rebob? Have you ever seen Rebob do that?
No.
He come out and butchered a hog for us one time when my brother was showing for FFA, and I mean he had it done in no time. It was
How they
like
put it down?
lickety split. Shot it.
Shot ahead.
Really?
Shot it in the head. Got it in the back of his truck. Hung it up. Blood drained out. He had the deals that he put out on the ground, and then he started gutting it. All that stuff.
You go, Arthur. You gotta stick that with the big needle.
Big gutting it. He even
Take that needle out. Just fate. Just slump over. For those of you online that don't know the joke, I'm deathly afraid of needles. So they're razzing me up here. Any other prayer requests?
passing out on there.
We're heading to Hannah on Saturday for a one-day revival. So be prepared for us, bring the word, safe travels there. For those of you that I sent out, I can't remember when it was, but I sent out a text about my sister. If y'all been praying for my sister, man, I got a great report from her just the other day, and so just continue being prayers for her. Really, really thankful. And I just want to, we weren't here Sunday, we were at Claremore, everything went well there. Thankful for that as well, but I'm really thankful for the women's retreat that they had. It was a huge blessing to my wife, and that means it's a huge blessing to me. And so just her report and just the closeness that she was just talking with me about, I'm very thankful for that. And I'm thankful that I had that time with Cleo, and she got to spend all that time with her Uncle Adam too. And we went out eating and went to a park, all that stuff. Went and got some golf stuff without her permission. It was awesome. Just sent her that picture of Cleo on that little putting green. I was like, Cleo says thanks, Mama, for the new putter. And I guess Nicole didn't think I really got it, but I did. Really,
So because she returned in a happy mood, right? It kind of balanced everything out.
it went back negative. She grabbed the putter and ate.
Any others? Any online?
Not that I've seen.
Okay.
Sister Penny's dad. Let's just continue to pray for Sister
Penny.
family.
That family of the man that got shot, or no, he got stabbed, isn't it, in Pawnee County?
Yeah.
Who did?
Cleveland.
I don't know the name.
Yeah, I don't know, but I got one. Sister Linda from Enid texted me, and one of the little fellas, Armand, which is Maria's, Linda's daughter, Maria, her son, Armand, the youngest, is in OU Medical, Oklahoma City, because he got stabbed up last night in Enid.
Oh my gosh.
He's probably 14,
Mm.
15 years old right now, because he was 13, 12, 13, something like that, when he was going, 14, he was going to church there. So he ain't old, you know what I mean? So he was around some stuff, he probably, shouldn't.
Yep.
He was wild anyways when we was there, but yeah, she said he's in OU Medical right now, because he got stabbed up pretty good last night. And I had to send him from Enid on.
Dang.
She was asking, that's what it was. Like I said, somebody was asking for something.
And that leads to praying for Enid. We're gonna jumpstart that again. To get back to, I don't know under what structure or guise, we're gonna do that over there, because we just gotta restructure it. But I did talk to the DOM. He says, yeah, you can come right back in. So
Good.
that's coming up.
Good.
And also, Edie had mentioned Nancy that lives right over here.
Nancy.
I don't know what her last name is. Just Edie was talking about her.
Any others? Continued prayers for our Pawnee Nation, our tribal nations around here, but also the state of Oklahoma and our United States of America. You know, a lot of issues out there, and seems like there's conflict everywhere. So, just continued prayers for our leaders in those positions.
I'll be in Edmond Friday night and Saturday. So
For revival, right?
be in prayers. I'm generally there every year this time, right before Easter. So I'll be going down, and then I'll be going to Wheelcup. Christy told me that meant muddy water. The following week, the next Sunday after Easter, I'll be there 4 nights. That's a good drive down there. Driving back and forth.
Just continue prayers for our family, and then for you next week. You'll be gone, so pray for the boys and I. While you're gone. I mean, we can make it, but
Yes, I have to go to. Seems like nonstop work right now, but go to our conference next week. Praise.
That Joel was talking about the little demonstration for the governor went good, and the Texas governor was actually there, so that went good. We got to sign off on that, and I guess it's going good enough to where he's actually looking at buying one of the airport to be the shop. So if he's looking for a shop, then we're pretty close to going with it.
Cool. Good.
Gonna be awesome.
That is good praise.
A lot of work, but
How about unspoken? We just have to take it to him. He already knows. Brother Rob, would you go ahead and voice our prayer for us?
Heavenly Father, we come to you just taking this time.
And for those of you online, we will be back Sunday. You can catch us on Saturday on 1600 AM KUSH or the TuneIn app, 11 o'clock. And then Sunday, again, Sunday school starts at 10. Sunday worship starts at 11. And you're free to join us. You want to come and visit in person. So until next time, God bless.